Okay, welcome everybody. I've got 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time here. Welcome to the NASA Earth Data webinar, Discover New Measures Data Products at the NASA Land Processes Distributed Active Archive Center, or DAAC. This is your host, Jennifer Brennan. So while everybody is logging in, we do have 2 optional polls at the bottom of the page. We'd love for you to take a moment to answer. Again, it's 2 p.m., so we're going to go ahead and get started. And just for a quick audio check, if you are listening to audio by way of your computer, let me know by typing into the Q&A pod that you can hear me loud and clear. That would be fantastic and very helpful. So I'm your host, and I'm also the NASA Earth Observing System Data and Information System, or EOS-DIS, User Support and Communications Lead at NASA Goddard Space Flight Center. And I would like to begin by going over just a few housekeeping items related to this webinar. So first, just due to the large number of participants and to ensure the best audio experience, the conference has been placed in silent mode. However, if you have any questions or you have any issues, go ahead and enter those into the Q&A pod on the lower right-hand corner of your screen. And thank you to those of you who have responded. Let's see here. Okay. So it works like a chat, so you'll just enter into that. This webinar will be recorded and posted to our Earthdata Adobe Connect catalog, as well as to our NASA Earthdata YouTube channel. The URL will be provided on the contact slide at the end. Also, all of the presentation files will be available for download at the end of the webinar. The webinar itself is 1 hour long. There are 45 minutes allocated to the presentation and live demonstration, and then 15 minutes for the question and answer period. So after the speaker has finished her presentations, we will then move to the final set of polling questions. The question and answer period follows after the final set of polling questions. So as I mentioned earlier, you will have an opportunity to ask your questions throughout all portions of the webinar, with the exception of the live demonstration by using the Q&A pod on the right-hand side of your screen. Due to the large number of participants, questions will not be answered using the raising hand function. It has been disabled. What we'll do is we'll take all questions using the Q&A pod at the end. And just one more final note, depending upon the volume of questions we receive, we will extend the Q&A period an additional 15 minutes to 3:15 for those of you who would wish to stay on the line. So I'd like to move next to the agenda. All right, the first half of the webinar, let's see here. Let's see the agenda right now. There we go. Sorry for the delay on that. The first half of the webinar will provide you with an introduction to the NASA LP DAAC, the Measures Project, and provide an overview of the 2 featured data products, which are WELD and SRTM Plus. During the last 15 to 20 minutes or so, what we'll do is we'll switch over to the Data Discovery and Data Tools or Access live demonstration, where NASA Reverb will be featured as one primary data access and discovery tool for accessing WELD and SRTM Plus products. It is my pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Kari Beckendorf, who is a scientist at the Land Processes DAAC. Kari?
Thank you, Jennifer. Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to have you all listening in today. My name is Kari Beckendorf, and I work at the Land Processes DAAC, or LP DAAC for short. The LP DAAC is located at the U.S. Geological Survey Center for Earth Resources Observation and Science, or AROS, in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I began working at AROS in 2004 on the fire science team, and in August of 2012 accepted a science communications role with the LP DAAC. I am here today to introduce you to the new data products available at the LP DAAC. The purpose of this presentation is to give you an overview of the LP DAAC and NASA Measures program and introduce the new measures data products. I will also be sharing some examples of how these data products are being applied. Toward the end of the presentation, I will give a live demo on how to access these new products. In closing, I will talk briefly about future measures products coming to the LP DAAC. The LP DAAC is one of several discipline-specific data centers within NASA EOSDIS. There are 12 DAACs, which are scattered around the U.S. These DAACs are co-located with corresponding Earth science facilities. Since the core mission of AROS is to archive remotely sensed land images, NASA partnered with the USGS. The USGS provides land imaging data to assist the Department of the Interior with managing federal lands. The LP DAAC processes, archives, and distributes 4 types of land processes data products. These data products include the standard land product data from MODIS and ASTER, community products, and measures products, which we will cover today. NASA Measures stands for Making Earth Science Data Records for Use in Research Environments. Measures is supported by NASA's Earth Science Program and awarded funding to projects in 2006 and 2012 to advance NASA's Earth Science goals. From the onset of the Measures project, Earth Science data products are generated. At the end of the project, it is expected that these new data products be made available to the user community. This is where the LP DAAC gets involved. The LP DAAC works with the project's principal investigator to facilitate the distribution of their Measures products to the user community. Currently, there are 2 Measures projects distributed at the LP DAAC. The first is NASA SRTM version 3.0, which was created by the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California, with Michael Kobrek being the principal investigator on the project. The second is the WELD version 1.5, which was created by the Geospatial Sciences Center of Excellence at South Dakota State University, with David Roy being the principal investigator. Both of these Measures products were released for distribution on November of 2013. For additional information on these projects, please visit this link to the LP DAAC site. SRTM stands for Shuttle Radar Topography Mission. This mission was a collaborative effort between NASA and the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, or NGA, as well as the German and Italian space agencies. The primary goal of the mission was to generate a near-global digital elevation model, or DEM, of Earth using radar interferometry. SRTM data was collected on February of 2000 and acquired DEMs of all land surfaces between 60 degrees north latitude and 50 to 6 degrees south latitude. Since collection, the SRTM data has undergone a sequence of processing steps, resulting in different data versions. Version 1.0, created by JPL, transformed the raw radar data into strips of digital elevation data that were then mosaicked into about 14,000 1-degree by 1-degree tiles. Next, NGA applied several post-processing procedures to SRTM version 1, including spike and pit removal, water body leveling, and coastline definition. After NGA applied these finishing steps, the data were returned to NASA for distribution. These data are referred to as version 2.0. The SRTM Measures project, there were minor errors found in the 3 arcsecond version 2.0 products. Therefore, version 2.1 was created to fix the errors. The most recent version, which is SRTM version 3.0, used version 2.1 to eliminate all data voids by using other elevation data sets. The SRTM Measures project used 3 different elevation data sets to fill the data voids. These data sets include the ASTER Global Digital Elevation Model, version 2.0 or GDEM2, the Global Multi-Resolution Terrain Elevation Data 2010 or GMTED 2010, and the National Elevation Dataset or NED. When available, ASTER GDEM2 is the primary data source used to fill the voids. However, since ASTER is an optical system, cloud cover can obscure the view. Therefore, GMTED 2010 and NED were used to fill the remaining data voids. The version 3 collection contains 3 main data sets, including the global 3 arcsecond, the SRTM 1 arcsecond water body data, and the U.S. and territories 1 arcsecond data. Both the global data product and the water body data cover the area originally collected by SRTM, which was 60 degrees north latitude through 56 degrees south latitude. The global data products are all at 3 arcsecond resolution and include the SRTM Global 3 arcsecond, the SRTM Global 3 arcsecond number, and the Global 3 arcsecond subsample dataset. The U.S. and territories and water body data all have a 1 arcsecond resolution and include the SRTM water body data, SRTM US 1 arcsecond, and SRTM 1 arcsecond number datasets. A shapefile in raster file is available for the SRTM water body data, which contains the vectorized coastline mask used by NGA. Both the SRTM global and US datasets have separate number files that contain detailed information about the DEM's pixel data source. All data products archived at the LP DAAC are given a unique short name corresponding to the data product. This will help you when trying to access the data. All version 3.0 data products were processed at the original 1 arcsecond collection resolution. The 3 arcsecond products were then derived from the final 1 arcsecond DEM products. This process was done using 2 different methods, the subsampling method and the averaging method, both of which are available for download. The subsampling method sampled the middle data tile of a 3x3 sample and is the global 3 arcsecond subsample data product. The averaging method sampled a 3x3 tile sample and is the global 3 arcsecond data product. The SRTM topography data can be used for multiple applications. Here are a couple of examples of how SRTM data were applied. This study used an SRTM dataset and GIS grid analysis to analyze the number of local government areas in the Niger Delta of Nigeria that would be vulnerable to flooding due to sea level rise. The SRTM data was used to identify the extent and distribution of potential flooding areas from high to low risk based on elevation. 6 different sea level rise scenarios were tested at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 meters and 13 meters. The test results identified the local government areas most likely to be affected by sea level rise. The findings from this study provided the state and local governments the information to start discussing potential strategies in dealing with sea level rise. This table refers to the number of local government areas affected at different sea level rise scenarios. SRTM data was also used to map height and biomass of a mangrove forest in the Everglades National Park of Florida. A landscape scale map of mean tree height was produced using SRTM data that was calibrated with airborne LiDAR data and a high-resolution USGS DEM. Field data was also collected in order to derive a relationship between mean forest stand height and biomass to map the spatial distribution of standing mangroves over the entire park. The results demonstrated that SRTM data was successful in mapping both height and biomass of mangrove forests and has the potential to map mangrove forests around the world. The second measures project that I mentioned was the Web-Enabled Landsat Data, or WELD, version 1.5. WELD was originally awarded funding in 2006 to produce and distribute a seamless, consistent mosaic of the conterminous United States, or CONUS, and Alaska, using Landsat Enhanced Thematic Mapper Plus, or ETM Plus, Level 1 terrain corrected products. Since then, WELD has successfully demonstrated the ability to deliver 30-meter composited Landsat ETM Plus data of the conterminous U.S. and Alaska from 2003 through 2012. These data are pre-processed and ready for end users. The spectral reflectance The Landsat ETM Plus Level 1T input data are organized into path row coordinates and are in Universal Transverse Mercator UTM map projections with a WGS GS84 datum. Each scene measures 183 by 170 kilometers and is made up of 30-meter pixels. The Landsat ETM Plus has a 16-day revisit time. The spectral radiance sensed by each ETM Plus detector are stored as an 8-bit digital number. These digital numbers are then converted to spectral radiance using sensor calibration, gain, and bias coefficient. Next, the reflective wavelength bands are converted to top of the atmosphere reflectance, and the thermal bands are converted to top of the atmosphere brightness temperature. Then, the normalized difference vegetation index, or NDVI, is then calculated from the top of the atmosphere reflective data. After the Landsat ETM Plus Level 1 terrain corrected data are acquired, they are processed and reprojected to the Albers Equal Area Projection, resampled, and tiled. The data are then composited on a per-pixel basis to a gridded satellite time series. This process helps to reduce cloud and aerosol contamination and fill missing values, resulting in a cloud-free, complete Landsat composite. WELD products are available for CONUS and Alaska. These products are composited into 4 temporal periods and include weekly, monthly, seasonal, which will be winter, spring, summer, autumn, and annual, December of the previous year through November. All CONUS and Alaska WELD products have a spatial resolution of 30 meters. Besides the weekly, monthly, seasonal, and annual data products, there is also a lat-long product, which is the 30-meter composite pixel of the center latitude-longitude point. All WELD version 1.5 products have a short name that start with WELD US for CONUS and WELD AK for Alaska. The WELD data are developed specifically to provide consistent data that can be used to derive land cover as well as geophysical and biophysical products for regional assessment of surface dynamics and to study Earth system functioning. In this data use example, WELD data were used to extract a time series of agricultural crop fields in Texas, California, and South Dakota. The extracted rectangular, circular, which would be central crop pivots, and irregularly shaped fields were then compared to independent United States Department of Agriculture, National Agricultural Statistical Service cropland data layer classification. This image is of the northern high plains of Texas and shows weekly WELD products in true color top of the atmosphere reflectance from 4 weeks in 2007, including spring, summer, fall, and winter. It was found that fields that were visually apparent were extracted with relatively little error of omission or commission. A validation was done on the California data to better understand field extraction accuracy. It was found that pixel-level thematic mapping accuracy provided a 90.1% overall accuracy. More research is needed to study different locations and validate the results to refine the methodology for large area applications. There are multiple access points available to acquire measures data products, including NASA Reverb, USGS Earth Explorer, LP DAAC Data Pool, GDAC, and WELD WYSIWYG. In a minute, I will give a live demonstration on how to access measures data from NASA Reverb. After the live demo, I will briefly highlight ordering data from the other data access points. In order to access data products, you will first need to register for an EOSDIS User Registration System or URS account. You will use your URS account to log in and order from NASA Reverb, USGS Earth Explorer, and GDAC. I'll now turn it over to Jennifer.
Okay, thank you, Carl. So what we're going to do now is switch over to a live demonstration which will feature the use of the NASA Reverb tool as a tool to discover and access both the WELD and the SRTM data products. Okay, Kari.
Okay, thank you. NASA Reverb is a search and order interface and allows access to all NASA data holdings in the Earth Observing System Metadata Clearinghouse, or ECHO. To get started, you will want to make sure that you are signed in using your URS account. Then in step 1, there are several spatial search options, including bounding box, point, polygon, 2D coordinates, and place name. For this demonstration, I have selected an area over the Great Lakes of the United States. And to start, I typed in NASA SRTM. Once I type in NASA SRTM and selected my area of interest, under step 2, the different NASA SRTM data products appear. I selected the NASA SRTM US 1 arcsecond data, and once I've selected that, it will automatically be put down under step 3, Discover Data Granules. So in order to discover the data granules in my area of interest, I would hit Search for Granules. But if I already knew the short name or granule ID, I could also search for that by clicking here and entering in the ID name. But for this demonstration, I clicked Search for Granules. This is the screen that you will see next of all of the results of my area of interest. And for this demo, I just selected the first one, and because I wanted to see what the data product would look like, I hit the Browse button, and then the Browse image appears. So you can see what the data look like before you order. So this is the image that I want to order, and so I went ahead and clicked the Add to Cart button. So now I want to go and order that data, so I would click View Items in Cart. Then the data should appear, the granules should appear in your cart, and then I would click Order. And this is the screen that will pop up. If you don't want the granule to be removed from your data cart after ordering, you would click this box right here, and that would leave it in your cart. Otherwise, you can click Submit Order. Once you click Submit Order and it's gone through successfully, you will get a confirmation that will say that your order was submitted. And then you would also want to go and check your email, because you will get an email message as well. And then you will also be contacted by email with your data order. Now I will switch over and we'll do a spatial search on WELD. I used a point. I typed in latitude 43, longitude negative 97. And since WELD has a temporal search, or temporal time frame, I typed in May 22nd of 2008 through May 22nd of 2009. Then the WELD products are showing up in step 2. And I went ahead and clicked on the weekly period. And then it shows up under Discover Granules, and then you would hit Search for Granules. Then the list will appear of all of the data granules on my point. And for this demo, I just selected the very first one. There's not a browse image available for this particular granule. And so I went ahead and put it in my cart, then clicked View Item in Cart. So there is my granule that I want to order, and I'll click Order. And then we'll get this screen again. And again, if you don't want your item to be removed after ordering, you'd click this box and then hit Submit Order. Okay, now I will move back to the rest of my presentation. The USGS Earth Explorer is also a search and order interface and allows access to Earth science data from the USGS archives. For a demonstration of Earth Explorer, please see the NASA Earth webinar called How to Access NASA, ASTER, and MODIS data with Earth Explorer that was presented last August of 2013. The search concept will be similar, however, the search terms will be NASA SRTM or WELD. The LP DAAC data pool is the publicly available portion of the LP DAAC online holdings. The data pool provides users direct access to the data directories for immediate HTTP access. As you can see in the red box, you can either select WELD or SRTM. If you select SRTM, this is the screen that will appear. you will need to know your short name and your location in order to order the data. For WELD, this is the screen that you will see. Again, you will need to know your short name of the data product you're interested, the date, and also location. GDAAC is the Global Data Explorer, and it is a spatial visual interface that allows access to ASTER GDEM2, SRTM version 3.0, NGA SRTM finished data, global 30 arcsecond elevation data, and blue marble data. To access NASA SRTM version 3.0 data, you will first need to log in using your URS account, then select your area of interest. I went ahead and selected an area over Africa. If you're curious about the spatial coverage of the data product, you can go ahead and click. The data coverage is right here, and it lists products. I clicked on NASA SRTM 3 arcseconds, and in that light red, it shows me the data coverage for the SRTM 3 arcsecond. So I want to order a SRTM 3 arcsecond product. So I would go up to here, which is a little folder with a drop-down box. I would click that, and the next screen that will pop up is the download. Then I can click on what product I want to order, the format, the projection, which would be a latitude or longitude or a UTM, and then I can click whether or not I want my order to be compressed as a zip file. Once I've entered in all this information, then you would hit submit. The last data access point that I will discuss is the WELD WYSIWYG, and it is also a spatial visual interface and allows access to the WELD data only. To order data, you would first select either an area of interest, such as a bounding box or a point. You can also search on other coordinates, so you could use latitude or longitude or elbers. If you're using a bounding box, your information will all be automatically populated here. Otherwise, you could type it in. And if you're looking to order a bounding box or area of interest, then you would click your order data. If you're just interested in looking at a single pixel, you would click a point. That point would be added here, and then you would click place pixel time series or order pixel time series. Future measures products coming to the LP DAAC include data products from both 2006 and 2012 projects. The remaining 2006 projects include Vegetation Index Phonology, Global Forest Cover Change, and the Definitive Merged Global Digital Topographic Data Set. For 2012 measures products, these would include the Global Cropland Area Database, Global WELD, Vegetation Continuous Fields, and creating a new NASA digital elevation model and associated products. These measures products are all currently in development. And for news release information, please check the LP DAAC News section found on the homepage. This concludes my presentation. Thanks for participating, and I will now turn the presentation back over to Jennifer.
Okay, thank you, Kari, and thanks, everybody. What we'll do now is we'll move to the final set of polling questions. I will give these questions a couple of minutes or so, and after that, we will move on to the Q&A portion of the webinar. We've actually finished a few minutes early today, but if we have a lot of questions, that will give us some extra time. So Pete, please be sure to stay in the room and or stay on the line to participate in the question and answer period which follows these polling questions. Thank you. Okay, so I don't see too much additional activity in the polling question, so I will leave it open just for a few more seconds here, and then we'll switch directly to the question and answer period. Okay, everybody, we're going to go ahead and switch over to the question and answer period. I do have not only Kari Beckendorf, your speaker, but also Dave Meyer, who is listening in as well to answer questions that we may have. So I'm just going to go through here and see what we've got for questions. I did notice one from Sirijoda. Okay, so the first question is, hold on just one moment. In GDEX, there is only one NASA SRTM 3 arcsecond listed. Is this the averaged or subsampled product? Either Dave or Kari?
Okay, should be both.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I didn't.
Yes. Dave says it should be, both of the products should be available in GDEX, both the subsampled and the averaged.
Okay, so Sirijoda said he just submitted an order. It's more of a comment here, and only one was returned via GDEX. Oh, okay. So we do have an additional reply. Averaged is available currently. Subsampled will be available soon. The next question is, would you suggest using SRTM over Aster GDEM? That's a good question.
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Sure. So the question is, would you suggest using SRTM data over the Aster GDEM data? Of course, either one of you can just feel free to jump in.
So this is Dave Meyer, kind of helping carry out a little bit here. Could you repeat that question, please?
Sure, Dave. So the question is, would you suggest using the SRTM data over the Aster GDEM data?
Well, now clearly there are places at high latitude where Aster GDEM is the only option, so you would have a clear choice there. I think you really would have to look at both of them. Both of them have quality information supplied with them. And I know with the Aster GDEM, for example, the larger the number of scenes that were used to collect the GDEM, the higher the accuracy of the data set. But I don't think we have a map right here of the accuracy of one compared to the other. I know Mike Colbrick is online here, and I know they've done some studies, and we might be able to get our hands on those and post them if it would be of use to the community.
Okay, so thanks, Dave. Let's see here. They are published studies on relative accuracy is a comment. And let's see, more questions for GDEM2 and SRTM3. All right. Any other questions? Anybody have any questions? Don't be shy. Just wanted to mention while we're here that the presentation, the final presentation, has been posted below in the file sharing pod in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. You've got the PowerPoint presentation as well as the PDF version, and I've included the agenda. And then, we do have ways for you to connect with EOS-DIS and Earthdata by way of our webinars, which are posted on a Earthdata YouTube channel, as well as to the tinyURL website below. We also have NASA Earthdata Facebook account, a NASA Earthdata Twitter account, and Google+. So feel free to reach out to us there. All right, here are a few more questions. I wanted to give people an opportunity. Okay, was there any quality control performed on the GDEM2 data before it was used to fill in the SRTM GL3? So the question again is, was there any quality control performed on the GDEM2 data before it was used to fill in the SRTM GL3?
Okay, so I understand the question was about quality control on the GDEM version 2. Is that what I understand?
Yes.
Okay.
Was there any quality
control?
There was
a validation report. If you go out to the LP DAAC website and look at our products page under the Aster GDEM, I think it's listed as the short name AST-GTM, you'll see there's a validation reports that were done by both the U.S. and Japanese validation teams. And they give you a lot of information about how it compares, say, against the Japanese validation model over Japan and over the U.S., SRTM globally, and also some work was done comparing it with the ISAT glass data, at each continent.
Okay, so thanks, Dave. The next question is whether or not WELD data is available for 2013 or 2014.
Okay, so I'm already on right now. I'll just go ahead and answer that for Kari. The WELD data for 2013 and 14 are not available currently.
Okay, so the next, there's a conversation going on here. Okay, so one of the comments was apparently there are spikes and pits in SRTM GL3 that arise from low clouds in GDEM2, which was the reason for the earlier questions. And so I guess the comment is, was there no additional QA by the Measures project? And then there is a reply down here, sure was, where GDEM2 appeared to have cloud-caused artifacts and SRTM had no data or voids. GMTED 2010 was substituted. Are there any further questions from other participants on the webinar? No questions. Okay, let's see. Okay, here we are. When will we get a 30-meter SRTM up? I don't know if that is a finished, is that completed question, Stuart? You're still, let me see, are you still on? Oh, okay. Let's see if Stuart is still on here. Stuart, is there more information you wanted to add to, let's see here, okay. When will a 30-meter version of the SRTM data be available for the U.S. or for us? Let's see, for anybody, okay, Stuart. Okay, so when will a 30-meter version of the SRTM data be available? Okay, so that will be the NASA DEM Measures 2012 product available starting first quarter of 2015. Does that answer your question? Any other questions from anybody? Can you type in the name? Let's see here. Where can we learn more about the NASA DEM? Do either of you have any input for that? Are you referring to the after GDEM? Hold on one second. No, the upcoming. Okay, where can, oh, excuse me, I apologize. Where can we learn more about the NASA DEM Measures 2012 product?
That would be on the measures. There's a measures page where it lists all of the projects that are funded for both 2006 and 2012, and you are able to. I just Googled NASA measures, and then it lists the projects, and you would be able to click on that particular project, and it'll give you more information.
So if you could copy and paste that URL into the Q&A.
Yep, I'll do that right now.
That would be fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, so it looks like, you know, the other thing I can do for everybody is I can actually create an additional document to upload in the file sharing pod, which I should note, this is a persistent feature. So if you were to listen to this webinar at a later date, the ability to download the presentation files will still be there. You know, it'll take me a couple of days to post this to the YouTube channel, as well as to our online catalog, but you'll still have that ability. So I can certainly post, you know, some of this information in an additional Word document for you, no problem. Okay, the next question is, and this is coming from Mario in Uruguay. Sorry, I got the connection for a moment. NASA is currently available or will be in a, okay, database radar images. Okay, so this question has more to do with radar images to estimate soil moisture. And the one thing I could say, Mario, and perhaps there'll be something Dave or Kari would like to add, we actually do have a NASA EOS data center that focuses on you know, radar and SAR data products, and that's at our Alaska Satellite Facility DAAC, which is located in Fairbanks, Alaska. So this is something I can follow up with you offline with some URLs to contact their user services office if you should like. I don't know, Dave or anyone else, if you had anything to add. But certainly that would be a good starting point for familiarizing yourself with some of the SAR and radar data products. Anything to add to that, Dave or Kari?
Nope, nothing beyond the NASA.
And then also, there was an addition, SRTM radar images are included in the version 3 data available through the data pool. So that's also an additional loading the file, the presentation files. Otherwise, thank you so very much for joining us today. We were glad to have you. All right, if there are any further questions, feel free to type those in. We'll leave the room open. I will, if there are no, okay, sure, you're quite welcome. It's nice to see you again, Bamun. I have some repeat users here. Well, thanks, everybody. We'll be logging off the telecon, but I will leave the room open, okay? Thanks so much. All right, take care now. Bye-bye.